Hey guys, Wolfie here and welcome back to the channel. As always, the usual disclaimer, any opinion here is mine and mine alone. Now this is going to be a special video. Granted, it's a video log, but I want to give my 2 cents on the matter. Now this particular one, it is from Reddit. Now the way I found out about this particular story is originally through Mark Narrations. Now he is a YouTube content creator from the UK, so it's like I won't be providing anything for his particular channel, but that's where I got the Reddit story from. So I did a little digging on Reddit and I actually found the story in question. Now the story itself, it actually has an update, and I do want to provide some key information, so I will have the Reddit link to the story and or the debate in the description below. Of course, Sandy, he says hi. Want to say hi to everybody? No? Okay. So anyway, I will have in the description below the link to the story I'm going to be reading. Now, in its own way, it is controversial in the sense of, is it morally right or wrong? I mean, in the topic itself, it's like, granted, it's legal, but you have to think about it like morally. Is it right or wrong? And the particular subreddit the story is from is kind of a popular one, the Am I the Asshole, or IDA for short. Or some people put like Am I the Butthole, like variations of it. Now, again, this is like, again, this is one of those topics where it's like, since it's more controversial in a moral sense, not so much in a legal sense. However, there are certain things I've noticed from the original poster on that matter, where they're starting to talk about some questionable stuff on the legal front too. So I'm going to be pointing that out. Now the user in question here and the story, again, this does have an update. Now the user is called lovely-picture. And that's Sandy going after the thing I use for my wrist when I use my computer mouse. So basically, it's called Ida for marrying my brother's ex-wife and considering adopting his child after he abandoned both of them. Now, what I'm going to do when it comes to me giving my final verdict is I'm going to do, when it comes to the final verdict, it's going to be like broken down in phases where it's like how do I feel like based on the title alone, after the original story, and after the update. So it's like, and it's probably going to change certain things. Now, I do want to point out, it's a bit of a spoiler, but there is a lot of information missing, which does factor in my verdict. But like I said, you're not going to hear the verdict until after I mention the update. And I'm also going to include certain things I've heard from OP on the matter. Now, I do want to mention here, in addition, before I go into this, is that the opinions here, it seems to condone certain aspects. So keep that in mind. So basically, the original poster is a 28-year-old male, and he is engaged, or I would say married or dating, whatever. So for a few years, the 28-year-old male been dating a 30-year-old female. The 30-year-old female was previously married to his brother. We don't know the age of the brother. So this is key piece of information number 1. And I do want to point this out because without revealing the age of the sibling, we simply don't know the age gap. We simply don't know things like how was their relationship before the brother married the ex, sort of thing. That's pretty key in my opinion. So this is for the fact that the original poster failed to mention the age of his brother. We don't know if he's younger or older. This is bad. This is kind of bad on OP. Now, they mentioned that 8 years ago, so it means that the female here was in her early 20s. It turns out they split up due to incompatibility because she got pregnant. The brother didn't want a kid. And the brother wanted the now ex to abort the kid, but the ex was like, you know what, I'm going to keep the baby, which is screaming incompatibility, meaning that not everybody wants kids. Not every man wants kids. Not every female wants kids. Now, the reason why I feel that we do know some incompatibility, and we also know that we don't know the age of the brother, is because it kind of leaves a lot of things up to it open. Things, this part right here leaves certain aspects open-ended and up to individual interpretation, which is kind of bad on OP at this point. So he divorced her in about a year, gave up all his rights, which in a sense is the right thing to do for the brother. I mean, because it's like, but she kept the kid. Now, this is kind of where I feel OP is misleading about the sibling, because you're talking about he's paying the ex alimony and child support, which is like, you're talking about abandonment. You have to think about the versions of abandonment. I mean, do they see the kid? Do they pay any format of alimony? Do they pay child support? If they don't do any of those things, that is complete abandonment. However, you have a sibling here who is paying alimony and paying child support. So that means the child is getting some format of support, which makes OP kind of look pretty bad here, in my opinion. So basically, and then he mentioned here, it's like, I don't know what she saw in him that she married him so early. So he bullied me, he is a golden child. So again, this is pretty much opinion about the sibling from the OP's perspective. Now, we do see here is that regarding OP's relationship with her before they started dating, so he was in support of her, which I'm thinking is a slightly awkward, but it's like, this is before they started dating. So, and then I do want to mention here is that they were all childhood friends, all lived in the same neighborhood. So, at this point, I don't know if OP's being completely honest here. And I'm like, so it's like, this is at this point. So it was 3 years ago, which is about 2021, that OP and who used to be the Sil is now his girlfriend. They never told the family members anything, which is a bad move on OP's end, and her end too, because when it comes to dating the ex, if you're dating somebody who used to date a family member, in my opinion, this will get awkward fast. So in certain ways, OP brought this onto himself. So we know here that the sibling came to the ex's place. He was trying to see me. It's like, and they had to tell the truth. So there was a fight. And again, in a certain way, without the violence, I'm going to completely remove the violence aspect out of this. I do see where the brother is coming from, because again, if I were dating the exes, any ex that used to be with any of my sisters, I would not forgive myself. I even have a friend of mine who does not want me to date any of her exes. And it's not so much because of that, but it's because of my own personal choosing. I simply choose not to date anybody who used to date a friend of mine. I could be seen as someone who's a bit higher standards, meaning that I'm extremely selective with who I choose to date, because it's like, I don't want to date anybody who used to be with a family member of mine, or even a relative. Furthermore, I don't want to date anybody who used to date a friend of mine, because it's like, it's going to make things awkward fast. Now, the fight here, and then OP and the significant other threatened to call the cops. So the brother wound up leaving. Now the family, it turns out not just the parents, but also the grandparents. Now with the saying, hey, you should not even be with that person, because again, that person used to be with the sibling. So be with his fight, yeah. So they're playing. Okay, so basically here is that they're saying they're going to they're playing on game either towards the end of this year or early 2025. So they're already saying they won't attend the wedding. So it'll be two of them. And They're saying to report to them. Now, a lot of people are saying not the asshole for this, but this is perhaps a little bit where OP may have put himself and the significant other in some format of legal trouble. Because he wants to adopt a kid that his brother created, which the significant other gave birth to. Now, she mentions something about he's like, so he was mentioning about he was mentioning, if he were to adopt the kid, the brother would not have to pay alimony or child support. It said that the significant other came up with a devious plan to hold on to the adopt and make him pay. And so I think she's trying to milk him dry financially, which saying this on social media is a bad move because you put yourself in legal trouble here. Depending on where you live, you may have put yourself in legal trouble. Now, the fact that the sibling wasn't really aware of the child, you're also talking about potential parental alienation because, again, even though he didn't want the kid, he's still paying child support, he's still paying alimony. And for her to do that to him, I don't think OP is as innocent here, but at this point, this is one of the replies this person made. Now, the reply here to that, I fully support because it's like you have to really think about it from a legal perspective. Because you don't want to say certain things on social media and certain people catch wind to it and you get yourself in trouble for it legally. So it says here, this is the particular reply here. So it says, I think to you really need to decide what you want. Do you want to get back at him or do you want to move on with your lives without him in it? If you can afford to take care of this woman and her child and you know you're in this for the long haul, then my advice would be to marry her, adopt the child, and then if he continues to harass you, use the legal system to hold him accountable. This is 100% in agreement from me on the matter because you're talking about use the legal system. Don't try to handle this on your own because you do not want to fight the law because the law will win. And it also, so the reply also says, I also suggest you move if possible so he just can't show up. Which is, again, yeah. I know it sounds appealing to purposely attempt to bleed this man dry, but you have to be a better person than your brother. I fully support this. If you want to be with this child's father, then you have to set a good example for this child. Because if the kid grows up seeing his mom and father's brother purposely using the system to get money out of his dad while also preventing him from knowing his dad, he can be resentful. Which is 100% correct. You have to go about this the legal way. And since he has no legal rights, you would be the child's legal father, he would have zero legal recourse to demand the child be a part of his life. And then when the child is old enough, you sit him down and explain everything to him and let him decide if he wants to get to know his biological father. Part of being a parent is putting your child's needs before your own. Amen to that. So if you want to be his dad, then you need to start doing that. I 100% agree with this comment because it's like, you don't want to say stuff and do stuff that could get you in legal trouble. And like I said, I do have some words about the significant other where I feel she's not as innocent in this as we think she is. Or I should say, I think she is. So here's the thing. So it says here, if you adopt him, then he has no more rights to see the child than I do. If he pays child support, then he can demand the visitation and sue for custody. Think about it. This is an excellent point. He can actually sue. This is something that I don't think OP really thought of. And again, we don't know the brother's age, so this is pretty embarrassing for OP. So, we're going to go over here. So he's like, he can't visit already, so there is, so we're going to jot that here. So here's the thing. Now this is another reply. I'm like, it's a really good take on this. You realize with this plan that if your girlfriend passes away, you have no legal custody of the kid. And another reply, really good point here. I would not go through with this plan. Better to permanently cut all ties with him than try to milk him for money. You should also check if where you live supports reinstatement. If it does, then your brother can use that to attempt to regain his rights to the child. If that is possible, you should too go with the adoption ASAP instead of shooting yourselves in the foot by delaying it. Check with your lawyer. Some people are saying that legal route. And some people on Mark's video about the matter didn't even take this into consideration. And that is appalling. And this is where, in this angle is where it's like, Reddit kind of got this right. Now, the person says here, you're better off doing adoption if you get, so that's here. So it's like, yeah. And then somebody here says this, and it's a good point, stupid plan. You will see him all the time if he wants to see his son often. And I think a lot of the comments on Mark's video also fail to realize that people change. If you don't want people to change, then say you don't want people to change. If you want to use people's past against them, that's not going to make things better. It's going to make things worse. And I think OP is making a really big mistake here. And the fact that he's posting stuff like this on social media, he's probably going to get himself sued for certain aspects. For what is a matter of it will depend on what the brother chooses to do and what he chooses to sue OP for. Now, I particularly love this reply right here. This is called "This is the Next One." Now, they quoted a part of the post, and then this is what the reply says. That's pretty messed up. Either she wants you as her partner, or she wants to hold on to being part of his life. She needs to pick one. This gives a hint that supports what I'm feeling about the significant other. Something is not adding up, and it's on the SO to come clean. So in this particular reply here, I particularly love. It says, OP, one of the things I know to be true in life, you are either going to go towards something or going away / avoiding something. When you are going forward, say as you are wanting to do, you are going towards a life of marriage, adoption, and harmony within your little family. If your girlfriend decides to go away from that by prolonging an already painful situation, this will damage your relationship absolutely. She needs to love you and the family you've created more than she wants to exact revenge on your brother. Money isn't going to give her peace of mind, and it's only going to hurt his pocketbook. It's only going to hurt his pocketbook and keep your brother and effed up family in your lives by extension. I say this with the wisdom of what I've learned in life. She needs therapy, someone to process that hurt and grief with, not onto. You will both be happier going toward a life together where your folks and bro are put firmly on the back burner. It sounds like she hasn't healed from how he abandoned her, and I get it. I've been abandoned too, and it's a hard wound. I've also had narcissistic parents and know that it's a futile mission to try and fix this or even to try and hurt them. It's okay to voice a devious plan to let off steam, but this is a time for her to help you build your little family unit up, not focusing on taking him down. Stay steady, friend. Now, I actually love this, so this one I actually like. It says here, this was written a day or so ago. It says, don't do that. You're saying your brother's ex-wife. He's gone ballistic. Marry her, adopt your nephew, move away, and let him go on his merry way. You don't want him in your life, and forget the devious plan. It just keeps him in your life. Now, this particular comment section is really good, and it kind of calls OP out. And I also feel that, again, OP leaving out key information does make him look like a bit of a dick. But like I said, I'm going to hold my final verdict on the entire story until we read that update. Okay, I'm going to get out of here real quick. I meant to click that by my thumb. Now we're going to go into the update, which was written a couple of days after that. So again, this is all within a week. Now, again, it's the same person. So it says here, first off, thanks to all the majority of people for their support and kind opinions. There are also some who are threatening me, saying if I were them, I'd be 2 feet under, or there are some people I shouldn't mess with, or I shouldn't put my hands on someone's wife or blood. Bro, he did that to himself. He abandoned both of them. She's his bestie, his brother's ex-wife. Coming back to the update, there's nothing much to say. We all sat down, called family to clear things up. The significant other says that even if they don't get married, she still won't allow him to see the kid, which is kind of questionable on a legal front. Granted, he signed away his rights, but I know he wants to see this kid at least once, and that could be the key phrase here, parental alienation, and I think the brother can sue for this. So that's that. So the family and so that's that. And it's up to him to decide. Unfortunately, I don't think OP knows much of the legal system as he thinks he does. My family and brother started convincing her to give my brother the chance to be a dad. And she said no. She already's found another man. Blah blah blah. There's not much she could do. Then the brother was yelling at OP because he knew I was listening. Didn't even say much. He said you went too far, saying nasty things. Wife cut the brother off to don't contact them again. Now we decided we're going to file a complaint in the morning, move somewhere else. And I don't think OP isn't much knowledgeable about legal stuff as he thinks he is, because the only way you can do certain things is like adopt a kid. And it says here it's like I don't think, and I'll explain certain things a little bit. So let me check the time real quick. Okay, it said 22 minutes, so I do need to wrap this up a little bit. So if he marries her, the brother won't need to pay alimony, but he will still require to be paid child support. So the significant other still loses some degree of money. And so it looks like they decided to forget about money and going with marriage and adoption. Now, they're saying here that we don't care about vengeance or money. We just want to live our life in peace without any drama. And he's saying F everybody in the family. So, yeah. So, what do I think about this? So, it's like, I hear there's a couple of people who are saying update me. So, I don't think this story is over with by a long shot. So, we're going to go over here. This is pretty much where you're going to be seeing. So, I would say pause whatever you feel comfortable. And like I said, now I'm going to give me a couple of minutes. So we're going to see here what I think about this entire situation. Now what I'm going to do is pretty much, verdict just by the title, verdict, original post, verdict, what they've replied and all that stuff. And what do I think about this story overall? So regarding this story, so by the title alone, so I'm not going by the story or the updates or the comments or replies. So the title alone, you are the asshole. And the reason why I say you are the asshole with the whole aspect of like based on the title alone, because it's like for a bunch of us, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure the exact numbers, but there's a bunch of us who were like, do not date somebody who used to date a family member or a friend because things get really, really awkward. And I think OP, say, hey, I don't want drama. I'm going to call bullshit on that based on the title alone. Now, the first post before the update, everybody sucks. It's a more or less an unpopular opinion, but everybody sucks in that first post. Now, the fact that, I'm going to reiterate, OP did not reveal the age of the sibling. Now, I'm going to assume that the sibling is older than OP. We don't know by how much. Because if the sibling is younger, I could probably understand why the guy didn't want kids. And the fact that OP chooses to leave out a lot of information and not be very knowledgeable about certain laws pertaining to kids, it's like, it makes this a lot more suspicious, in my opinion. Now, the significant other. Now, this is I'm kind of saved a little this just for her. There's a part of me who thinks she baby trapped the brother. Because if somebody doesn't want kids because they're very young, and she wanted kids, and the fact that he was like, hey, get an abortion, they divorced, and then she decides not to tell him that she kept the kid, she's just as bad. Because if you're trying to keep certain people out of certain people's lives, that child is going to grow up feeling quite resentful. And the child should be making up their own mind about their biological parents, no matter the circumstances that brought them onto this planet. What the brother and the parents did were wrong. That's a no-brainer. So that is before the updates. Now, the verdict with the replies and all that jazz, that is, everybody sucks still, and I'm leaning very, very, very slightly you are the asshole. Because replying with certain things like, we're gonna milk him dry, that could get you in trouble legally, depending on where you live. And the fact that she refuses to allow him to meet the kid, it's like parental alienation, because he could go after on two elements. It's like he's still paying alimony and child support, so that means the kid's getting money. They're still getting money. If you milk somebody dry, you put yourself in a legally troubling situation. And that kid may wind up in the father's custody. So sometimes you might want to exercise caution when posting on social media. Now, the update, now I'm going to go with info needed, because again, there's certain degrees of information missing, because we do know that they're going to go through certain things. Now, but I'm going to go with missing info, but it's like, I am just going to stick with everybody sucks here, because it's like, this is not going to end. And it's just like, and the reason why I say this is because it's like, we simply don't know the dynamics of the two brothers, and the fact that they allowed the woman to get in between them, regardless if they were close or not. I mean, when it comes to bullying, people being bullied and all that jazz, it's like, it's one thing. But the fact that you're posting certain types of business on social media, it's like, not everybody's willing all for it. And there's always going to be a possibility that, I had to check the timer real quick, so that way I don't go over the 35 minutes. So, it's just that there's certain aspects of information missing, but it's like the fact that they're moving, it's just like, we're talking other family members. It's like the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. It's like, we simply don't know their stance on all of this. It's because of that missing information. It's just like, I don't feel OP is as innocent as we think. I also feel that OP has some blame in this, as well as the significant other. And by posting all this online, it just doesn't make them as innocent as they seem to be. But the saying, as the classic saying goes, and this is where I'm going to end this video, two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm ending it here. With Wolfie signing off, I will catch you all on the flip side. Psych! I have another Reddit story to tell you guys. I was reading this on Mark Narration's YouTube channel, and I found it on Reddit, and it's a different story. So for this video, I'm actually going to be doing 3 stories in a singular video. And this second story is it's kind of interesting. So it's one of those things where it's just like, in a nutshell, it's just like information is missing and key information. You have to question whether the original poster is reliable. So let's get to it. Now for this particular story, the user here is from the Ida Am I the Asshole subreddit. The username is weird but okay. There's a couple underscores, so it is Am I the Asshole for prioritizing my sister's wedding over my girlfriend's birthday after she gave me an ultimatum. Now, as like this, the first story, I'm gonna do 3 separate recordings for each story, along with my final verdict. So here. So here is, it says, before I get into it, this one says hi. Sandy just loves me. He likes being around me. Anywho, so it says here, my girlfriend Lisa, it's a fake name, and I have been together for 2 years. Her birthday's coming up. She's been planning a big celebration with friends and family for months. It's a milestone birthday for her, and she's really excited because she's always felt her birthdays haven't been celebrated properly in the past. Now, I do feel this is going to be key in my final verdict, so pay particular attention to this. Here is where it gets complicated. My sister Jane has announced her wedding date. It's the same weekend as Lisa's birthday. Jane and her fiance had moved the wedding up due to some family health issues. Now it's a small, intimate ceremony that means a lot to her. Jane asked me to be a part of the wedding party, and as her only sibling, it's important for me. It says important to me to be there. I think it's supposed to be important for me to be there. When I broke the news to Lisa, she was devastated. You get the whole gist here, and then this is where the escalation comes into play. So Lisa gives OP an ultimatum: either go to the birthday party or she's breaking up. She feels this is a test of my commitment to the relationship. Argues if I loved her, I would prioritize her special day. It's a once in a lifetime event. I'm gonna call this out when I get to the verdict because I don't think OP knows certain things about weddings nowadays. And choosing her family over her, and he says here OP is stuck between rock and a hard place, that sort of thing. So I'm just giving a nutshell here. It says this is a bit right here. It says a little update after this post. I texted, called out the behavior. She's crying, da 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 da. And it looks like the significant other is understanding the POV. So this is the second edit. So, I'm looking at here, so this is some of the stuff we've seen from OP, and I'm going to point this out right now, and the fact there's information missing is, in fact, at this point, I don't really think OP is a reliable narrator, and I'll explain that why later. So we have here all this jazz. So there's some people are saying no one's an asshole here, everybody sucks here, not the assholes, a bit all over the place. So there's a lot of things going on. Now, here this post, there's no ages being revealed. We do know that they've been a couple for 2 years, so it's like it doesn't give much like context. It doesn't give out much information. And for me, when it comes to posting stuff like this on Reddit, I feel that if you give out as much information as possible, and the things if you leave out any information, it should be something very minor, because leaving out key information from what I've seen in the original post, it's like, I don't feel OP is really reliable. And for him to leave things out, it's just like, I honestly don't get it. And I'll reveal what I feel OP has been leaving out in a little bit. I just have to make sure that the whole thing with Sandy's and his shutting. So, and then people are saying that birthdays happen once a year. Here's the thing with some people and birthdays. Milestone birthdays are genuinely once in a lifetime. Golden birthdays are genuinely once in a lifetime. That's something that people need to understand, because when it comes to like milestone birthdays like 21st, 25th, 30th, 40th, 50th, it does have some degree of additional meaning. And when it comes to weddings, I'll explain that a little bit in more detail. When it comes to weddings, the divorce rate in varying areas have gone up. So people have to really ask themselves, are weddings really once in a lifetime? Not really. But again, I'll explain that a little later on why I feel that way. So it's a lot of information here. And then they're saying, oh, the significant other, is a case of red flags. Again, like I said, I have a special verdict on this one coming up later. And you will see why, because I'm about to pick apart OP here. I've said this in a few comments on Mark Narration's video on the matter. So again, this is my own personal take on the matter. Now, at this point, OP is very much stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, I think making an assumption like this, and this is a reply, says if things go well, one wedding and one wedding only, that's nonsense because people change. And depending on the type of changes, things don't always work out. And the reason why I say this is because I am, even though I'm an adult now, my parents have been divorced since I was a kid. 2 of my 3 older siblings are also divorced. I know a good amount of people who are divorced, both in my life outside of work as well as work. So it's one of those things, it's like you can't make exceptions like this. Now, regarding some of the key information missing, I will address that once we look at the update real quick. So hopefully either tomorrow or over the weekend, I'll probably go over the 3rd and final story, so that way you guys get to see the whole gist of that. Now, this is one of those comments I actually agree with, and before I go any further, now the original post here, it looks like I'm looking at my calendar, it looks like it's early August, it looks like it was written in like mid-late July. So you're talking about, it's like, when you plan certain things in advance, it's just like, you really can't, like, it's in a way, it's a bit of a bad idea to change certain things around. When it comes to milestone birthdays, again, it's like something that was like, certain things are going to be really hard to reschedule, and then you're going to be losing a lot of money, So, I did see here a comment, the significant other is turning 21. And that's actually a pretty major milestone, because you're talking about somebody finally allowed to drink, and in some areas, purchase cigarettes. And where I live, it's like, they did make some tweaks and changes on that to where you have to be 21 to purchase cigarettes and tobacco products. Don't ask me how I know that, but yes. So there's like, yeah, so it's like, yeah. But I think this comment says here, just like the beginning, it says is they're done. And this is a really good one. They're saying that this is a no-win situation. So it's one of those things, it's like, some people don't think birthdays are a huge deal. It is a huge deal to some, and I think here that regarding OP and Lisa, it's like we're talking incompatibility. And in fact, that Lisa's this young, it's like, yes. I think at this point I'm reading this, like, I think they need to break up. But I don't think that, in all honesty, OP is telling the entire story. So they're saying that the family didn't even know about this. This is going to play this right here from Amazing Reality 2980. There's a lot of information missing, and I think I managed to comment on the update, like, with that. And I think I said something about the NAH responses, which is at this point with just that amount of information, I think that it's like I'm like before like certain aspects of information, I'm slightly leaning towards no one's the asshole, although there's a lack of information missing, OP's being radio silent on certain things. It's like I'm torn between no one's an asshole and everybody sucks at this point. And this is like all that stuff. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize it's like not everybody's tight with their families. And then this comic got it right, straight M4. No one's the asshole here. Your girlfriend's obviously been looking forward and playing this for a long time. Sister changes the wedding date. Suddenly you drop everything for the sibling. Weddings are sometimes once in a lifetime because, again, divorce rates, people, and then, people become widows for whatever reason. So it's like, this is, yeah. And then this other reply here says, took too long scrolling to find this response. Lisa's got a history of her birthday not being celebrated. So it's pretty significant. So it's like, and then they mentioned that themselves and an ex-partner had friends get married within a week. And it's like, yeah, they eventually got over it. But just like, we all know that there's a good reason for moving the date forward. But, again, OP at this point is stuck between rock and a hard place. Now, it's like, now someone says here, your relationship is over with. I agree with that. This is more like, I think here, I'm looking at some of these comments and replies. This one really sticks out, and I actually agree with it because it brings up a point where a key piece of information is missing. It brings up certain aspects of communication. And the fact that there's really bad communication is just like, this is what helps me getting torn about all this, because if there's bad communication, everybody's gonna suck. And I honestly don't think this relationship's gonna last much longer. I mean, ultimatums are bad in itself, but if it's bad communication, it's like, yeah. And then this comment here, it brings up a good point. It says here that I see a lot of red flags in here, but I disagree. Sometimes ultimatums need to happen, and sometimes ultimatums aren't ultimatums, but a verbalization of consequences. That said, it seems you already made up your mind and you're going to the wedding. Your relationship was over this moment you decided to go. She verbalized what was going to happen. You don't enter a party and the relationship is over. She's hurt you didn't choose you, and there's something I kind of caught from OP on this that kind of makes me leaning towards everybody sucks here. I'm going to reveal that after the update. And then that sort of thing. And then this here brings up another good point. Was the girlfriend ever invited to the wedding? Was the sister invited to the birthday party? So it brings up a really... This brings up a really, really good... This brings up some really good points. And it's like, I'm surprised OP has not addressed this. And I will reveal whether or not OP addressed this in the update. Because if they didn't, this is where he dropped the ball big time. And there's a lot of people are mentioning that they're conflicted, everybody sucks. It's like, yeah. This is like, it's all over the place. It's really messy. And there's a lot of people asking for additional information. So this is kind of like, OP's not really good with narrating, and at this point, I don't feel he's reliable. So on that, I'm just going to go all the way back up, and we're going to go into that update, see if I can find it. So this is the update. So this is pretty much what happens. This is like Lisa kind of screws things up, all that jazz. And it's just like OP's at a loss for words. So it's like this kind of further cements certain things. So I would just say, you know, just look over the paragraphs, pause to read, like, to make sure you guys come up with your own conclusions. And I'm going to go into one other area real quick, and that's on the profile itself, so that way you guys get to see, like, where I'm leaning at. And reading on this thing, I kind of starting to lean towards everybody sucks because of really, really bad communication. And the fact that OP left out a lot of key information. And this will make him look really bad. So what I'm going to do, you know, once I get done with the 3 recordings, I'm going to put the links to each story in the description below, so that way you guys get to see what's going on. So this one, I'm really starting to not trust the OP on this one, because it's like he's leaving things out. And if you leave things out, it's like, yeah. Now this comment really is irritating. So he was mentioning something about, like, he's not denying certain things. Now, that sort of thing. So it's like, I think OP's not, like, getting a certain thing out of a certain part of the anatomy. It's like, he's not, I don't think he's going to be a good boyfriend on the long term. And it's, yeah, this is bad. So I'm going to go into some of the comments I've seen from OP on this, and this kind of helps me cement certain aspects of my decision. So this is one of those I've actually downvoted. Now, this is what he says. This is what the OP set up in reply to one particular comment. He's like, hey, you kind of right. She actually has a few friends. I mean, there are many, but they aren't that close with her. The reason she says is because of me. She keeps me in priority, so she gives us time to other friends, which I suspect some isolation from OP. And this is a red flag in itself. This is one of those reasons why I do not trust OP at all. It's like, if you're the reason why a significant other is spending less time with her own friends, and you've been together for a couple of years, I'm just trying to make sense out of this. And this is like, it's just, I'm just baffled here. Because if you're like the significance of the priority to where she's not really hanging out with her friends, and this is also true if the genders were reversed for the role, meaning that the female's kind of controlling the male to where he's not hanging out with many of his friends as much. So it's like, I think you might have admitted to controlling her to some degree, isolating her to some degree. And I'm like, I just don't find that acceptable. And let me see if I can find my comment, because I know I'm relatively recent, so hold on. Let me see if I can get this correctly, so bear with me. So we're going to go into the update, and I'm going to show you what I actually said, because I did put this in the I did put this in here so that way you guys get to see where. So I did mention that I caught this on Mark Narration's YouTube channel, and I did mention, and this is pretty much my final verdict, so I'm going to go into this what I said here a little bit. So for the title, based on doing the whole judging the book by its cover aspect, this whole situation where it's like looking at the title below without reading it, no one's an asshole, and reading that first initial post with the edits and some of the replies, I'm torn between no one's an asshole, but I'm starting to lean more towards everybody sucks here, because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll explain why in a little bit. Because what Lisa did flat out sucked. There's no, getting out of that one, woman. And after this update, it further cements that everybody sucks here. Now I'm going to go into one of the reasons why with what I said in this particular update. So I mentioned here that I read this on YouTube, Mark Narration's channel. In digging up the comments of both the first post and the update, I'm leaning towards everybody sucks. And the main reason being that this is a no-win situation. Milestone birthdays are genuine ones in a lifetime. You don't get to have them again. You really don't. So 21st birthday, that's a genuine milestone. 30th birthday, that's a milestone. 40th birthday, milestone. 50th birthday, milestone. The golden birthday, that's a milestone in itself, because when it comes to like, we're like, not the month, but the time of the month of your birthday, meaning like, let's just say somebody's birthday is on, and I'm just putting this as a random example, the 30th of May. Now we're going to ignore the month of the birthday. We're going to talk about the 30th, which is towards the end of the month of May, so towards the end. So the golden birthday in this particular situation, where it's like that person turns 30 on the 30th. In my case, it's like mine's the 22nd. I'm not going to reveal the month. It's one of the worst months to have a birthday, but the time of that particular month is the 22nd. So my 22nd birthday was when I turned 22. Well, I mean, it's been 20 years, but that's besides the thing. So golden birthdays are genuinely a once in a lifetime. You don't get to experience them again. And OP and his family are seemingly out of touch. Weddings are not always going to be once in a lifetime, because people get divorced. Some people become a widow for insert reason. And it's like, people do get remarried. It's about people being aware that the times are changing, and they're going to keep on changing, considering when divorce rates are going up in varying places around the world. So some of the questions I've asked, and I noticed that, again, OP has remained radio silent on this. Now, we do know that the family didn't even realize that the birthday party was kind of clashing, which hints at bad communication. And bad communication on all sides is one of the major reasons why everybody sucks here. Because without good communication, things fall flat. Give it time. So the first question I asked, and it's never really been addressed. I mean, I'm not going to spend 24/7 for the next year to looking for something from an OP on this. And the first question was like, was Lisa ever invited to the wedding at all? And we know that they've been together for 2 years, which would constitute her being invited. And it's like, we don't know. That's one of the biggest things, because if she wasn't ever invited, that means that OP is hiding something extremely important about the family towards Lisa, which is supported by the second question I asked. How does the family view Lisa? Because because we don't know that, it's like OP should have like saw that coming. And within that, and I forgot to mention this, is that when I asked this, it's like, we don't even know if the family ever met Lisa. Because again, OP leaving stuff like this out, it's just like, OP becomes more and more unreliable. And the more unreliable people get by leaving out key information like that, it's just like, they may be lying about a lot of stuff. And that's where they suck. Now, the third question, and some people have asked this, and again, OP has yet to address this, is whether or not the sister checked to see if he had plans in advance, because again, the birthday party was already planned, booked, all the 8s and 9s on that. And I also added that assuming things without asking first makes everybody look bad, even the sister. And then here's the thing. Another thing, did anybody in the family apologize to Lisa for the change of the date of the wedding? Because it's like, if no one's really communicating, this relationship will be falling flat. And I think it's best for OP and Lisa to break up. Because you're talking about somebody like OP who could be isolating the significant other, because it's like they're choosing you over their friends. It's like you're not really giving them a choice to be independent. And it's like she's probably going to feel that you will never view her. And another danger for OP when situations like this is that if somebody tied to Lisa sees this, he's probably going to get ripped a new one. Especially if the person tied to Lisa are on good terms with Lisa. So on that, I'm going to be done with this particular recording, and with that, I should be back. I don't know when, it's for the third and final story. So see you guys later. I'm back. Anywho, so this is the third of 3 stories for the Reddit. So like I said, I'm doing 3 separate recordings, and I'm going to put all of them into a singular video. So for this particular user, it is WalkCurious4038, and this is actually from originally the True Off My Chest. Now, this is pretty much the title of the original story, so I think this is going to be an ongoing one, so I won't be surprised if we see additional updates about this in the future. This is content warning right over here, and I'm not gonna treat this as if this were "Am I the Asshole" sort of thing, because it's like it's a completely different subreddit, True Off My Chest. So the title of the story here is my stepdaughter died 4 weeks ago, and I caught my husband and his ex-wife in our bed. So we had this going on. So my heart goes out to you, OP. You're such a badass on this. So that's pretty much the short end of what I feel about this, which I will reveal at the very end. Like I said, I think this is going to be ongoing for obvious reasons, and this is relatively recent because the last update is from July. I do feel that we're going to be seeing updates to this in the future because, again, OP, I will reveal why once we get to the most recent update. I don't think this is over with by a long shot. So it starts off with here, her stepdaughter Becca died 4 weeks ago. OP's been in Becca's life since she was 7. Now this is her husband. The name is Derek. His name is Derek, 40 male. The ex-wife is Sam. She's 38 female. OP here is 35 female. So it says here, so Becca refers to her OP here as mom. So it says here that Sam really is just like really hasn't been dealing well since Becca's death. Sam hardly leaves the house, all that sort of thing. OP and Derek are like, hey, come stay with us for a little while. Take the time you need to heal, to grieve, because we're all going to grieve together. So this particular instance where OP goes out, runs errands, and OP wanted Sam to hang out with her, just to help her, with varying things. OP was mentioned she's going to be back in about a couple of hours, give or take. Derek works from home, and she wanted Sam to be checked on by Derek, sort of thing. So OP realizes that she forgot to grab a book she needed to return to the library, and this is what she was hearing when she got back to get the book. And it's like she caught Derek and Sam having sex, so to speak. So she immediately confronts them, that sort of thing. And it's like Derek's saying that, she kissed me, da 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 da, one thing led to the next. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I'm going to say why later. So that sort of thing. So this, and OP here has been like, communicating with the comments. I'm proud of her for, being active, all that stuff. And then a reply here says, they waited till you were outside to have sex. So, and I think they mentioned that they think this particular reply saying, hey, they think it's not the first time. We'll reveal more on that later. then someone mentioned, you know, the spouse told her, by her OP, a partial truth. So it's like, yeah, some people are saying this is not the first time they're telling OP at this point to, you know, go to your mom, get in touch with the lawyer, blah, blah, blah. So that's that on the original story. Again, I'm proud of you for, like, bringing this up. And the fact that you speak very highly of your stepdaughter, I mean, you kick ass. You so rock. So I'm just going to go back here. Then we're going to go over to the first update. There's quite a few updates here. Like I said, I don't think this is over with by a long shot. So this is the first update. So this is it right here. So OP here decided, okay, get a divorce. That's what she's doing. And and she mentioned here, so the update was originally onto that subreddit, got removed, so she's decided to post future updates onto her own page. So it turns out that some of the comments were right in that original post, that it was not the first time Derek and Sam had been screwing each other, and by screwing, having sex. They've been doing it for 3 months and before Becca died, which is disgusting in itself. And I wouldn't be surprised if Derek was probably going to be leaving OP, which would be really bad. And I'm going to reveal certain things about that later. So Sam was like, you know, I'm sorry, da 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 da. And, you know, OP's planning on cutting them both out of their lives, so on this sort of thing. And, she's just like, OP basically is really hurt, heartbroken, and I completely agree with OP, you know, just like, screw them. They're better off not being in your life. This is at this point. So, again, kudos to OP for, you know, hey, giving relevant information, that sort of thing. So that's the first update. So the second update is more of like a FAQ, frequently asked questions. So we're going to go into the first one. Is have I told anyone about what happened besides mom? She has. Some friends and some family members. So it looks like they're not speaking with Derek because of this, and they're supporting OP. Now we're going to focus on this one a little bit because it's going to be relevant a little later on. Where Derek's staying, he's currently at a hotel. Friends refuse to let him stay with them. Because of his mess up, the FAFO, they're like, you know what? You messed up on a good thing. Has he tried fighting me on getting divorced? He has. Basically saying that he has begged me not to file, but when I told him I needed him to just let me go and that I was too exhausted to fight him on this, he let it be and agreed to getting divorced. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to go into this and then we're going to go into this. So we're going to find certain things out later. Why isn't Derek staying with Sam? He told me he didn't want to continue to hurt me, and so he told Sam he was done with her for good. They have no reason to speak to each other anymore. I have no idea if they'll last or if they'll end up together, but I truly don't care what they do anymore. I just want peace. What's Derek's excuse for cheating? He told me that he just accidentally reconnected. One night when I was away with my mom, he was stressed about this sort of thing, miscarriages, all that jabs. They weren't able to conceive. I'll speak on this miscarriage aspect at the very end, because it's like, it's a bit, and there's this whole thing with miscarriages is like something in a sense I could speak on because I'm related to a couple of people who went through a miscarriage, so it's like I want to address that aspect later on. So basically, OP and Derek were trying to conceive a child. They haven't been able to with miscarriages. And Derek, being a royal dipshit, I said it, he went and vented to Sam, and they were like, hey, let's get another baby for OP, blah, blah, blah. FOP, let's fuck. That sort of thing. So that's the whole thing with that. So I want to make sure I get this in the correct order. Now, this is update, I believe this is update number 3. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. I think I... Okay. So it's pretty much a recap of the FAQs, that sort of thing. I just want to make sure, you know, I don't repeat certain aspects. And then the thing is, I forgot to mention a little earlier, is that OP did consider Sam to be a friend, that sort of thing. So I think it's a bit of all that stuff. So that's that. So we're gonna go into additional updates. This particular post. So it says here. Remember when I said I'm going to address certain aspects of the FAQ a little bit later? It turns out that he is staying with Sam and not in a hotel. He told me it's too expensive to stay in a hotel. And Sam's the only one that'll help him right now. This is for you, Derek. And then OP mentions here, I had a feeling this would happen. Just knowing that they are still probably sleeping together hurts my heart. I talked to a lawyer this morning and we are proceeding with the divorce, and Derek agreed to it. It's actually happening. I feel some relief he's not fighting on this. OP also states that her mom leaves on Sunday. I'm scared to be alone, but I go back to work on Monday, so I'm hoping it'll be a good distraction. I'll keep updating if anything else happens. Thank you, everyone. I'm so grateful for you all. No, OP, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you for being open about this. I am so proud of you. So now we're going to do here, this update is called Becca's Diary. It's a short update, so it says here, okay, let me see something. Let me go back a little bit. So I think she mentions at some point she does reveal that she does find Becca's diary. So she goes through certain things, she finds Becca's diary, so I'm not so sure why that got removed, but it is what it is. So let's see here. Let me look up something here. Okay. So she mentioned, you know, that OP does, you know, go through the diary a little bit. So it says here, I decided to go through some of Becca's stuff today. Just found her diary in a box in the back of her closet. Would it be wrong to read some of it? I feel like it will help me feel closer to her, but part of me feels like it's wrong too. I haven't told Derek that I found it either, and I'm unsure if I should tell him what you do. I would agree with a lot of the comments saying, hey, he kind of needs to know this, because, you know, when you clean out like a room or whatever, you know, I want to make sure, you know, it's like, if things like this are found, make sure like the surviving parent is aware of this sort of thing. So I think this comment has a good point. It says, how close were you with Becca? There may be things in there you don't want to see. That being said, I would probably read it anyway. I would definitely give it to the parents unless there's something in there they shouldn't be reading. So it's one of those things that's just like, you know, she was kind of torn about it. I mean, hey. And I think it says, read it, it's yours. You may not be a bio, but you were just really good. So I think it's kind of mixed, but it's just like, hey. Then someone else says, like, read it before deciding to tell him about it, that sort of thing. So this one says here, it's fine to read it, may even help with closure for the possibility. Yeah. And there's some people saying, you know, it's like, hey, read it, but be cautious. And then it's, I mean, again, I agree with all this, because it's like, you want to be cautious, because it's like, hey. So now we are going to do just a little update. So it's been a few days, so on and so forth. So she mentions that her mom goes back to work, and she mentions, but it's like, again, OP's going to be like going back to work, sort of thing. So it turns out here that OP did read Becca's diary. Now I think that OP did the right thing by reading it because of what comes up next. So she went back a few months and mentioned that Becca might be suspicious pertaining Derek and Sam. And it's like she read that she's reading that Becca noticed some bizarre behavior between Derek and Sam, and then Becca also felt that it was strange that Becca, Sam, and Derek were like hanging out a lot more than usual without OP present. And I'm gonna stop this right here for momentarily because I feel that Becca is drawing a good amount of suspicion that her dad, Derek, is cheating on OP with Sam. And I think this would have ruined the relationship Becca has with Derek in the long run, knowing that her dad likes to cheat. So OP also mentions that I might read more, but so far I haven't found anything that's disturbing. Just her being a teenager, talking about crushes, fights with friends, happy family memories, so that sort of thing. And then she mentions the next day she's going to talk with the lawyer, so there probably will be more updates based on that, the wording on that. This says here last update for a while, so it says starting getting a lot more messages and comments, so I figured I'd do a little last update. My first week back at work was great. The co-workers being helpful and patient. Friday night, OP didn't want to stay home alone, so she went with her mom, hung out. And I'm just going to leave this right here, pause it, and read it on your own will, because it's like, yeah. I am in support of OP for reading the diary, because when it comes to certain things, it's like if it's left out in the open, it's like, in certain ways, it's like, you are technically not in the wrong for reading something that's like out, like wide open, in where people can easily see it. So I'm just going to leave. So I would just say, just pause the video and read this on your own time. So she mentions when it comes to like some divorce stuff, so that's probably when she's going to come back to update. So this is a bit of an interesting update. It says, Sam saw my Reddit post and is threatening to sue me. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to defamation, I don't think Sam would have had a case here. Because if it's true, you have no shot in court. So it says here, Sam made a fake Facebook profile. I sometimes refer to Facebook as the Book of Face. It's a message to me and tells me she wants to sue me for telling strangers about what happened. Derek supports her. I don't. So it says all this stuff here. It says here, F you, Sam, right on. F you, Derek, right on. And this is for you, Sam. So, and OP also mentions at this point that Sam's in the comments and messaged me on here too. So, and OP blocked her. Good. Now, this is one of those really saddening posts. It's like, I don't think I could do this anymore. So, this is a bit of like a vent-like post from OP at this point. And you could tell right here that OP was really feeling the effect of Becca's loss on that sort of thing. It's like she wanted to vent. It's like, this is completely normal for people like OP to do. She really needed Becca back. This is like, it's all good. Now, this is the interesting update. And I'm not going to say much here. This is all you need to know. Pause, read this on your own time, because it's like, it's just sad all around. And the thing is with OP here, this is why I love her so much as a person, is because this is a particular reply of hers. She says, I hope they're together again. And I hope they're both at peace too. That's all I hope for. So it's like, you don't wish the worst on your enemies. And she wished the best. This is the type of mentality we as humans need to have in our lives. You don't wish ill on people you don't like. Because karma does their thing, and people will be wishing bad on you. So it's good for OP to wish nothing but the best. And that's like doing things the right way, in my opinion. And then this mentioning about Catholic Church, that sort of thing. A lot of people are saying that, OP, don't blame yourself. And then somebody here says, the only fault is the ex. He's a weak man. He cheated on you with his ex while they both smiled happily and played the role of good husband and friend to your face. He only has himself to blame. He wanted his cake and eat it too. He was going to keep screwing Sam while trying to have a child with you, and probably would have knocked Sam up in the process. He is a no good person. He doesn't want to blame himself because he saw no wrong in cheating on you. It all happened because of him and his inability to stay a faithful husband. He's trying to use you as a scapegoat for the pain he caused himself because you are the easiest to blame. Most likely thinking something along the lines, if you never caught us having an affair, this would never have happened. OP, do not blame yourself for the mistakes of a weak man. Sam taking her own life is her own choice and nothing to do with you. The part she played was helping to ruin your marriage with your ex. You owe her nothing, and you definitely owe him nothing. Honestly, I would sell the house after the divorce is final. Start fresh away from him and his side of the family. So, again, I agree with everybody here. It's just like, don't blame yourself for somebody else's actions. Now, again, this is the last update. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be over with because there are certain other aspects that are probably going to come into play. So it says here, taking a break from Reddit and going on a trip in a week. Well, I'm doing it. I'm taking the advice that so many of you had. Going on a trip since my job doesn't need me until the middle of August. I was so lucky I had my mom come and stay with me a lot, and had my best friend come stay with me when my mom couldn't. I felt like I was asking too much of them. So I decided that maybe traveling might be a good idea. In a week, I'm going to Norway. Becca and I always wanted to go there one day. It was on our bucket list. I'm actually excited. I'm also thinking of getting a pet when I come back, but might wait till I move. Thank you to those who recommended I do this. Becca would be happy I'm doing this. She'd be so freaking thrilled for me. You probably won't hear from me for a while, and I'm taking a long break from Reddit and all my social media. I think that's best for me. But just know I love and appreciate all of you that have been there for me. I would have been so lost without some of you. Yours truly, Alyssa. Now, Alyssa, OP, we all should be proud of you. You got proactive when it mattered the most. And I forgot to mention this sooner. But the cause of death for Becca was a car accident. And it's like it's scary in itself. But to OP, we are all so proud of you. We have your back. I hope you're doing wonderful. I hope Norway was a freaking blast. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck in all your future endeavors. Because I know it's like you're probably going to be coming back to work later on this month. Derek, you're a piece of shit. And regarding a pet, I mean, I just wish you the best of everything with your move. I hope, things get better and better for you, OP. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. We are all so proud of you. We are going to be cheering for you, whether it be from where I'm at, and as well or wherever else in the world. We are all cheering for you. And regarding the topic of miscarriages, it's like one of my cousins and one of my nieces have experienced at least one miscarriage before they were successful in giving birth to their kids. I do hope, OP, that you get yourself medically tested to figure out why you've been having so many miscarriages. Because I noticed like the miscarriages are happening within the first trimester. And the reason why I'm saying to go to a medical professional like for that is because it's like you're talking about a potential medical issue that's not allowing you to conceive. Because I know there's ectopic. I'm not so sure if I pronounced the word correctly. I think it's ectopic pregnancy, where it's like, or something. I think there's something medically wrong. So I just hope you're just taking care of yourself in that regard. So on that, I'm done with all 3 stories. I gotta do an app to where I can put all of them in the single in a single, like, do like quote unquote edits where I can add them all together in the singular video, and then that way I can post that onto the channel along with making sure the links for each of these profiles are on the channel in the description below. But yeah, so this particular OP, Walcarius 4038, aka Alyssa, I wish you nothing but the best. And that's all I have to say on this video. With Wolfie here, signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.